I have an amazing story to tell you. I heard it from John, the gospel writer. Now, a certain man was ill, Lazarus of Bethany, the village where Mary and Martha lived. Now, Mary was the one who had anointed Jesus' feet with perfumed oil and wiped them with her hair. Lazarus was quite ill, so the sisters sent a message to Jesus. Lord, he whom you love is dead. But when Jesus heard it, he said, this sickness is not unto death, but rather it is for the glory of God, that God's Son may be glorified through it. Accordingly, Jesus stayed, even though he loved Mary and Martha, and even though he had heard about Lazarus being ill, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. Now, after this, he said to his disciples, let us go to Judea again. And they said, they were horrified, and they said, Lord, those people were just trying to stone you, and you're going there again? And Jesus said, are there not 12 hours of daylight? Those who walk in the daylight will not stumble, because they walk with the light in them. And those who walk at night stumble because they do not have the light. After saying this, he said to them, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, and I'm going there to awaken him. And they said, if he's asleep, Lord, he'll be all right. And Jesus said, well, they thought he was talking about just sleep, and he was talking about death. And he said to them, look, Lazarus is dead. For your sake, I'm glad I wasn't there, so you may believe. And let's just go and see him. And Thomas, who was called the twin, said to his fellow disciples, said, let us go also, so that we may die with him. Now, when Jesus arrived, he found that Lazarus had been in the tomb for 4 days. Bethany isn't very far from Jerusalem, some 2 miles away. And many of the Jews from Jerusalem had come to visit Mary and Martha and console them about their brother Lazarus. And Martha, when she heard that Jesus had come, went out to visit him, went out to meet him. And Mary stayed in the house with the company. And when Martha got there and met Jesus, she said, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. And Jesus said to her, Martha, your brother will rise again. And she said, I know he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day. And Jesus said something stunning. He said, I am the resurrection and the life. Those who believe in me and die will live. And everyone who lives and believes will not die. Do you believe this?" And Martha said, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, the one coming into the world." When Martha had said this, she went to call her sister Mary, and she told her privately, "The teacher has come, and he's calling for you." Well, when Mary heard this, she got up quickly and ran to him. Now, Jesus was at the same place where he had met Martha. And the Jews who were in the house with Mary, when they saw her get up hurriedly and run out, they followed her because they thought she was going to the tomb to pray. When Mary came to Jesus, she knelt at his feet and she said, "Lord, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would have lived." And Jesus saw her weeping and saw the Jews around them weeping, and he was greatly troubled in spirit and deeply, deeply distressed, saddened. And he said, "Where have you laid him?" And they said, "Come and see." And Jesus wept. And some of the Jews said, "Look how he loved him." And others of them said, "If he could open the eyes of the blind man, why could he not save this man from dying?" So Jesus, again deeply troubled, came to the tomb. Now it was a cave with a stone lying against it. And Jesus said, "Take away the stone." And Martha said to him, "Lord, there's a stench. He's been dead 4 days." And Jesus said, "Did I not tell you, Martha, that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" And then they took away the stone, and Jesus looked upward and said, "Father, I thank you for having already heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I say this for the sake of those around us." And when Jesus had said this, he cried out in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out!" And the dead man came out, covered in grave cloths, and his feet and his hands bound with strips of cloth. and a cloth covering his head. And Jesus said, "Unbind him and let him go." This is God's word for us. Thanks be to God.